Hello, this is Greg Oliver with Agathon Solar, a Michigan-based solar installation company that also serves the U.S. Virgin Islands. This is the second video in a series that is geared towards helping the do-it-yourself installer size his solar, battery, and inverter system. Today we're going to talk a little bit about a BESS or an ESS, which is just a big acronym that you're liable to see as you do your own research on batteries and solar, which means Battery Energy Storage System or Energy Storage System. For the purposes of today's discussion, we're just going to call it a battery. So what you see here is a Cowent S40K. This is a lithium iron ferrous phosphate battery. Here you see a battery management system that gives you a lot of data, or the BMS, and two modules, and then the base at the bottom. Each of these modules are essentially 5 kilowatt hours of energy storage. They are 48 volt, 100 amp hour modules that essentially give you 5 kilowatt hours of storage. This stackable or modular solution can go up to 6 modules with one BMS, and then you could parallel multiple stacks as desired. Some of the values of this Cowent system is its ease of install. It is modular, so you could start off with 2 batteries, and then you could add 2 batteries, say, a year later. And it would be as simple as removing the top part, the BMS, adding a couple more modules, changing some dip switches, and then reprogramming the inverter to the correct amp hour capacity, and you would have more capacity added. The Cowent brand also has a high voltage matrix power battery that looks identical to this, but is a high voltage battery. This is a low voltage battery. This is basically a 51.2 volt battery. The high voltage batteries range in the 300 volt range. And you can go up to 5 batteries with that stack. Cowent also has an R5000, which is a server rack style battery. And Cowent also has commercial size battery solutions, both in cabinets and even containerized. So having talked about sizing an inverter, now we ask ourselves, well, how much battery do we want to run? If we use the same example of the breakers that we have discussed in the previous video, the 40 amp mini split, the 20 amp on demand, and the 20 amp well pump, now you ask yourself, how long do I expect to run those appliances when there is no sun? So let's talk a little bit about energy. What is energy? Well, energy is power over time. If I have a 100 watt light bulb on for an hour, I've used 100 watt hours. If I have 10 of them on for an hour, I've used 1 kilowatt hour. Again, there are 5 kilowatt hours of energy here. So you think about, how often am I going to be running my mini split? How many times am I going to take a shower or turn on my hot water or turn on my cold water and my well pump works? You begin to work through a load calculation where you calculate how many kilowatt hours you're going to use with those appliances.
In this section, we are covering how to size your battery. A lot of that depends on what type of load profile you've got. Your load profile will be based on what your usage looks like in your day-to-day life. For example, 2 working adults with no kids are going to have a lot more different usage pattern, where there's going to be a lot more usage in the morning and the evening than, let's say, a retiree who will be home for most of the day and will not be staying up super late. Because of that, we have different ratios of how much energy storage you need to how much solar PV panels that you have. We are doing a generalized ratio for this. It really depends on your individual usage pattern. But for this example, we'll look at the 2 working adults with no kids, where they have the high usage spike in the morning and evening. You're making coffee, you're getting your shower, you're getting ready to go to work. So you're also not going to have a lot of usage in the middle of the day when you're gone at work, and as such you're going to want to save more of that solar energy to be used later on in the day. As such, it's got a much higher ratio of battery to total solar compared to the retiree. Next, we're going to tack on a 20% depth of discharge buffer, which makes sure that you're not going to be discharging your battery too low and causing damage to those batteries. Finally, with that value, we're going to determine how much storage that you're going to need. This number is in watts, not kilowatts. We're going to take that number, in this case 80,000 watts, and divide it by 5 kilowatts, and for every kilowatt there's 1,000 watts. So as such, you will need about 16 5 kilowatt modules based on this load profile.
Having come to a fair understanding of how much energy you will use at night or when there is no sun, now you can size your battery system. We want to keep in mind that although some manufacturers say that batteries have a 100% depth of discharge, we would recommend that you always leave at least 20% in your battery. So if you have 10 kilowatt hours of energy storage, you really only have 8 kilowatt hours of usable energy storage. The Cowent S40K has a 10-year warranty and 6,000 cycles at an 80% depth of discharge. When considering where you will put your battery, understanding the applicable electric code within your area, in Michigan, you have to keep a battery above freezing. If it takes a charge while it's freezing, you will ruin your battery. So you have to either have a battery with a heated cabinet, which Cowent does offer a solution for that, or you need to have it in a heated space. If you're on the US Virgin Islands, obviously you don't have extreme cold, but you have corrosion. So you have to figure out a way to keep the salinity, the salt air, away from corroding some of these parts, which will degrade your battery and probably shorten its life expectancy. So in sum, for your battery backup system, whether it's grid-tied or off-grid, you have to ask yourself, how many hours or days of autonomy do I want? Assuming there is no sun, what do I want to run and for how long? That will enable you to size your energy storage system. It is necessary for the do-it-yourself person to work through the exercises and calculations to size your own system. This will ensure that your investment of financial resources and time is well spent, and that the system will serve your goals long-term for you and your family, or you and your business. All of these components that we have discussed today and used as examples for system sizing can be purchased at Plaza Extra East on St. Croix in the US Virgin Islands. Plaza Extra East also ships to St. John, St. Thomas, and other islands throughout the Caribbean. Plaza Extra East also has other components, solar panels, energy storage systems, and inverters that were not discussed here today. Agathon Solar is here to support you in this endeavor. We will review your calculations and help you design a system that will meet your specific goals and needs. We provide single-line diagrams, remote consultation, on-site tech support, and full permit packages as they are needed. Please feel free to reach out to us at info@agathonsolar.com. This is Greg Oliver with Agathon Solar, and we hope that we have enabled you, the do-it-yourself customer, to secure his own power for his home, family, and business.